really look forward to jumping into this with you. Make sure that you dive all the way into it. You're going to get a lot out of it. Soak it up. I look forward to this experience with you. So right now, I think the world, there's so much tragedy in it, and it becomes very public in the 24 hours news cycle, as far as how it gets exacerbated, through the news. And I think what you said earlier, people are looking they have doubt, but they're looking for a reason to have faith.
Yeah.
So with all the trials and tribulations of the world right now, what do you think the right message is, for them to find this faith?
If there was any real desire I would have for how the gospel is communicated, it's that it would be more honest. I think sometimes we've given people this false sense that if you just love Jesus, everything's coming up roses. Mm-hmm. You're going to be rich, you're going to be healthy. Well, you're going to die sooner or later.
Yeah.
I mean, so, how healthy can you be and how healthy can you stay for how long? Because the truth is, we're going to die. And there's an easy believism that I think has permeated the Christian faith that makes it as if I have any calamity, then it must be that I really either was sinning, God's punishing me for my sin, mm-hmm. or I just didn't have enough faith. And I find that really troubling because neither of those views is a biblical view. Following Jesus does not necessarily make my life easier. Mm-hmm. It may make it more difficult. Simon Peter was crucified upside down. Most of the apostles were horribly treated, and many of them died as martyrs. Was theirs a lack of faith? Hardly. They put it all on the line. I'd like to hope that following God makes everything just, skippy and dandy, but it doesn't. The question is not whether or not my life is going to be easy, but whether or not I will be found faithful mm-hmm. in the midst of whatever life delivers.
Well, it's interesting because you talked about that you find that you connect with God when you have candor in the relationship.
Yeah.
And this is very interesting. One of the things that's really come out, I think, of the interviews we've done for this series, Christ Revealed, is the concept of relationship, not necessarily just ritual or religion, but having the relationship. And that you put together the fact saying, when I'm having candor, as compared to trying to pretend that I'm a certain way, yeah. I'm just really being truthful about what I'm experiencing right now, and that's when you find the connection. Can you speak to that a little bit more?
If I go to the doctor because I'm having some kind of pain, and he says, "Where are you hurting?" "Oh, I'm not hurting anywhere. I feel great." "Well, why did you come?" "Well, because I feel so great, I wanted you to tell me how wonderful and how healthy I am." "Well, you're really kind of wasting my time." No. I just wanted you to just affirm how healthy. That's absurd. We laugh at that because it's silly.
Right.
How silly is it to go to God and say, "Oh, Heavenly Father, I thank you for this wonderful day and how blessed I am," when deep down what we're really feeling that day is, "Lord, I'm really angry. I trusted a friend in business and he cheated me, and now I've lost my life savings. How did you let this happen to me?" That's what the person is thinking. Be honest about it. God is more than able to handle everything we throw at him and a little bit more. And I just find that when people pretend, and I hear prayer sometimes and I'm thinking, I know that guy, I know what he's going through, and what he's feeling is nothing like that prayer he just prayed out loud. He might as well have saved his breath, because what he should have been saying was, "Lord, I come to you today and I'm mad at you. I'm just mad at you. I'm mad because I don't think things worked out like I thought they would, and I'm blaming you today, God." And I know that sounds, that's so harsh. It's like we think God has our emotional makeup and that we're going to hurt his feelings so much that he's going to run and hide from us. He's the creator God. He handles everything that we deliver to him. And it's only when we're honest with him that then he can be really honest with us. The biggest lesson I think I have to learn day after day is that I never pray because I'm trying to change God. I'm praying because I'm waiting for God to change me.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've heard people when they pray, and it's like they're praying their Christmas list. God, I have 7 things I need today. And they have it all spelled out just like it's supposed to happen. And you want to just tap them on the shoulder and say, I think if you just said not my will, but thine be done, probably get a little further along. But that's not how we end up praying most of the time.
Yeah. You're a well-known public figure, held public office. Did your advisors, because you're very open about your faith, right?
Yeah.
Very forthright about it. Have your advisors ever asked you to kind of tone it down a little because you might be losing or polarizing some people because how you profess your faith?
I think most of the people that ever worked around me knew that would be a wasted conversation.
Right.
And they understood who I was. Many of them were people of faith as well, and so they understood it. Others who weren't may have wished that I had dialed it down a notch or two, but they knew that that's who I was, and I think they recognized that trying to get me to maybe hide my candle under the bushel was never going to happen. And it wasn't because I was some super saint or that I believed better than others. It's just that was the only way I could be honest.
Right.
There was a particular bill in Arkansas that came through, and it will seem minor to a lot of people. It was after we had a rash of deadly tornadoes, and a lot of people had been killed and millions of dollars worth of damage. And there was a provision in the legislation that defined natural disasters as acts of God. And I know this to many people was petty, but I said, I will not sign the bill if you use the term acts of God, because you are attributing to God the killing of dozens of people and the horrendous effect of this damage that has been so very difficult for people. And they said, well, but it's just insurance language. I said, it doesn't have to be. It's whatever we decide it's going to be in the legislation. And I said, I see the acts of God with the first responders rushing in to pull debris off of people. I see acts of God when the Salvation Army shows up with their truck. And I see the acts of God when people who aren't even being paid bring a chainsaw and start helping people get their lives. I said, I'm not seeing that the effect of a broken world in a weather system that is emblematic of, this entire planet, the effect of sin and evil in it. I'd like to think that those are natural disasters that come from this world of ours that is broken.
Right.
But the act of God, I see it, but not in what killed people. I see it in what saved their lives and what reached out and put a hug around, a mother whose son got killed. That's an act of God. You want to define that? Let's do it. I'll sign that. And people thought I was being petty and silly, but I held my ground because I just said, it's time for us to be more candid about how we define it in the public realm. And I guess what was particularly difficult was that so many people didn't want to talk about God in the public square. Don't ever bring it up. Stay away from it. And then there were legislators who wanted to attribute things to God. And I'm thinking, why don't you attribute wonderful things to God? You only want to attribute bad things? What does that say to kids? Right. So that's just a small example of those moments where you just say, say what you want, call me crazy, but I'll hold my position on it.
But words matter, all right?
They do matter.
And these are thematic, so, and as you're saying, children would grow up learning this language, learning these themes, and not maybe even understand why they're having trouble when they get older with the concept of God, because these things are ascribed.
If I thought every time there was thunder, lightning, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and earthquakes, God showed up, I'd kind of think maybe God wasn't somebody I wanted to hang out with. He's really messing up a lot of stuff.
Right.
I'd probably run from him. He'd be worse than the childhood vision of the booger bear under the bed. Right. So why would we teach kids something that ridiculous?
And I'm guilty as charged here in the sense of being in business for a lot of years and reading those clauses and contracts and just kind of being numb to it, saying, okay, that's just a description. But you really have kind of broken it open and said, wait a minute here. This is a mischaracterization that's inappropriate, and just because it's sort of legally traditional doesn't mean it's accurate or right. So there's a lot of wisdom, to be able to pick that out and capture that and then make a point of it. That's it for this particular interview. Thanks for joining me. Really excited to take this ongoing journey with you as we keep bringing more content. If you haven't already, you really should subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of phenomenal content coming down the road into the future that you'll want to know about. Leave a comment down here. I think people would love to hear from you, and then you can hear from them too. If you liked it, go ahead and give a like. It only takes half a second, and share this with people that you care about. The world needs more light in it right now. So thanks for being with me. Hope to connect with you again soon.